Jake, I
What?
think we need to record new intros with maybe your car and my car. And
I think
redo
we
that.
should too. I 100%
Yeah.
agree with that. Because,
come over.
yeah, it
We'll
should be
do it up
our
here.
cars doing that.
Yeah, I agree. That would be,
Okay, let's
especially
do
my
that.
car sounds like way better than it does in that clip. And yeah, I think
Well,
it'd be cool to be.
does it sound like the 2.8 RSR?
I knew it does not.
But at least it'll be us.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm. Hey, everybody! Welcome to Overcrest. I'm Kris,
And I am Jake.
we got a news episode for you, and
That's
Jake's
right, all
940
sorts of stuff.
I see how like I went.
This was my.
We did
This
record
was
another episode. I went to go to the bathroom. I came back and there's this like laundry list of shit to do on your 944,
which
so
is
that ought
mainly
to be exciting.
It's mainly for me, as I was like, yeah, what else am I doing? What else do I have to do? And I was like, I might as well write it down for myself. So yes, I have a laundry list of the things that are left before it can be started and driven.
Yes, yeah.
Which we don't need to really.
Yeah,
go
we
through.
can talk about it a little bit. The driven to death car. This shit pile right here is flooding again.
So I can't believe that. I thought you had it fixed.
I drove it around like for days with no problem.
Okay.
And then now it's flooding again.
Isn't it the same carburetor?
Same carburetor.
The middle
New
carburetor,
New float.
new float.
I'm imagining people are like, fucking talk about something else.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to like dwell on it too much.
Okay.
I bought vibration isolators for the
that's a good
carburetor
idea.
because you can have those. I didn't think they were necessary, and some people say they are. Some people say they're not. We're gonna find out. Here's what pisses me off. The
What?
car is full of. I finally, because I thought it was fixed, I put good oil in it, so it's got Brad Penn in it with 2 quarts of gasoline. So it's just like this will be the 5th time I changed the oil. It'll be like $250.
Oh, because the oil gets fuel contaminated.
So you can't use it.
That's frustrating. Okay.
Stupid.
I would change out all the gross jet float valves for regular old neoprene needle valves.
I don't see those anywhere. I don't see that that's available.
You don't think? I'm pretty sure they are for DCOEs.
I will look. I don't see
So
them.
that's what I would recommend, and that's all I'll say about it.
Okay. Well, I'll look into that. I ordered a fuel pressure regulator, which I don't have.
Okay. Because do you know? Do you have a gauge there?
It's like 3. Yeah, I hooked up a gauge. It's 3 psi. But I
That's
bought
fine.
a fuel
That's
pressure
perfect.
regulator anyway. Just like, I don't know. Just
Maybe it like spikes or it doesn't
know.
make sense.
So I bought
doesn't
one.
make sense. Yeah.
I bought one.
Okay.
Just put it on there.
Wait,
Gonna do it.
is this mechanical or electrical fuel pump?
It's an electric pump. I tried putting the mechanical pump on the block. I took the block plate off because this is a CIS engine. And I put the mechanical pump on there.
Does it not have the cam?
It doesn't have the cam for the. I thought it would,
Really?
but it doesn't.
You would think so. Why would they change that? But
I don't know. It just doesn't do anything.
Well, there you go. All right, yeah, change your float valves and
it wouldn't matter. I was gonna say unless I have the pump upside down, but it doesn't matter.
It would.
Nope. It's just a little thing that sticks out. It's just a plunger that gets pushed. So
Right.
If I flip it upside down, it's still gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, but a push on the other side of.
No, it's just a cylinder with like a thing that sticks out. It's not like offset or anything.
It's not an arm. Usually they go like this.
No,
it's an arm.
No,
it goes like this.
It's a pokey thingy.
It's a pokey. Got it.
Yeah, it's a pokey.
Got
one.
it.
So
Okay,
that's
the driven to death car.
However, I did make a phone call today. Did make a phone call today to a company.
Who did you? Okay, are you going to elaborate?
I called
Genvi. Are you gonna
wait.
Okay.
I called Genvi, and
they are known for their
the options.
Individual throttle body EFI systems.
Yep, which bolts right up to the DCOE bolt pattern.
Oh, that's kind of cool, and it makes sense.
So the manifolds would retain the manifolds, and the manifolds would work.
Yes. Now, you got a little snarky, but my 2 cents were I really enjoy the fact that the carburetors are like period correct for the car, and when you go fuel injection, like it's a
they
modern
go really
solution.
well with the 3D printed intake manifold from 1967. Yeah.
Right, but at least that could have been. It wouldn't have been 3D printed, obviously, but it could have been sandcast. Like, that is still a thing that could have been done.
I know,
it looks correct. I love carburetors on the car, and I don't. You're right. It's not my fight, but
dude, I'm so done, man. I'm just done.
That's why I just want you to change the valves, and I think the fuel pressure regulator be good.
I don't know, dude. I'm really, dude. I threw a tool today.
What tool did you throw, Kris?
My screwdriver, my flathead screwdriver.
Where did you throw it?
As hard as I don't know. It's gone. I threw it as hard as I could into the garage, and it's in here somewhere. I don't get like mad very often.
You have like anger regulation issues.
No, I don't.
I'm not saying
I never do that. I never do that. That's not something
you do
that
sometimes
ever
like shout.
Yeah, I'll say gee, and then I guess I'll shout or yell.
You do that too.
So.
I don't do that. I don't have outbursts. That's an outburst, is what I would call it, Chris.
Yeah, you don't have time for an outburst because you're too busy going so fast that you break things.
Correct. Yeah.
So you don't have.
What was I drilling out this week again too fast? Starter solenoid bolt. No, but I just go through drill bits. Like,
why don't I go ahead and grab a microfiber that has oil on it and clean my glasses? How does that sound?
That sounds really smudgy and good. I'll talk about my park because I was drilling out a starter solenoid
car.
Yeah, the parts car, exactly. Because every time I go to bolt something up, I realize there's another system or component that needs a part. So I'm down to a short list, though, of things I'm waiting on for parts.
I could have told you this was going to happen.
Yeah.
You're like, I got an engine from this. Yeah, I knew.
I knew it in the back of my head.
This was going to be a problem.
I also knew that. But why? I do not know. So I'm waiting on the turbo coolant pump because, of course, there's an electric pump that runs the coolant through the turbocharger after you shut the car off.
An after-run pump?
Yep, basically. It's just an ancillary pump that you need.
Yeah, it's important. That's important.
Yeah. The starter solenoid.
The bearings,
right. Starter solenoid is toast, so I need one of those. That's on the way. The coolant expansion tank. The idiot changed to a naturally aspirated 944 coolant expansion tank, and it has not the right provision for the coolant for said coolant pump to the turbo, of course.
Okay.
I need a new O2 sensor because that was toast. Tie rod ends are disgusting. And then
Are they all torn up or what?
I probably could just buy the boots for them, but you can't. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe I'll just get the boots. And then I just have to bolt it all back together, Chris. I have the steering rack and all of the power steering lines that go to
looking at your little list here.
New power steering coolant
Jake
situation.
This is taking you forever.
It's because I only have like 4 hours a week to work on it.
I am going to guess
that's all I allocate
don't even
to myself.
Do that.
That's probably what I allocate. Something like that.
You should be going out there and getting like one little thing done every day.
I agree. Thing. That would be good for morale. I cleaned the garage really well.
Oh, I thought your garage is always perfect.
It was disgusting, actually, because I had diesel fuel everywhere. Were you there for that?
Yeah, I was there for that. It's amazing how messy your garage gets when you're actually doing something.
Ha 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 ha.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're always making fun of me that my garage is a disaster.
It is.
It's because it is in a constant state of project.
And you know what my argument to that is?
The tools come out.
Have you ever
seen
the
tools go away?
Like a dealership garage where they work on things every single day and it's spotless?
Yeah, but the thing is those aren't even mechanics. Those are technicians. They're not working on old cars. They're just like, they get a part and that's broken and then they put the part in. They're not doing an engine swap that's custom with old shit with different parts, and like it's just not the same.
That's thing. Very reductive though to not call them mechanics.
They're technicians. There's a huge difference between mechanics.
There is a huge difference, and I'm talking about the actual mechanics that work at dealerships that are like hugely certified to make more money than a lot more money.
Yeah, the mechanics are pretty good dudes. I feel like there's way too many technicians out there though, on fault finding missions with their little computers.
I could see that for sure.
Think of it this way. Look at shops. Look at old shops that have been around forever that work on anything. They all look like my garage.
I know, you're right.
Because they're actually harder to work on old cars that are destroyed and rusty or oily and everything else. It's not the same as working on cars with warranties, which is the majority of what newer cars are, what the dealerships are
and so all you do is you swap components. I know what you're talking about.
This isn't going down to Carousel Mercedes or whatever it is. Not Carousel, whatever.
You could though. They would be happy to take your money, Chris.
I should try. I should take it.
But then you're going to get a $600 bill for.
If I brought that in the Mercedes dealership and was like,
I would actually love that.
I
would love that.
We should roll it in there and see what they say, and just be deadpan serious. Just be like, I can't. I'm not sure. I just bought this car from a guy.
No, don't even say that.
It's sticky. I don't know. I just can't. I don't know. I don't work on
cars. And
then
just drink all their coffee and their complimentary snacks and in their nice waiting room.
They would tell you sorry, we're not gonna. I'm sure they would say we're not gonna work on that thing.
No, they would.
You
Even
think they
like the
would?
Porsche shop like takes crazy old stuff and they'll
Yeah,
rebuild it
but
for
this
you.
isn't just crazy old shit. This is like weird. They would look this up in the parts catalog and go,
It'd be hilarious
these
if they
don't have
did that.
part numbers on the intake manifolds. Like what? These aren't Zeniths
Who
or
is? Yeah,
Solexes.
yeah, exactly.
Mercedes didn't use Weber. They used Solex,
Really?
German,
Yeah,
Zenith, German.
German.
That's it.
Yep.
They didn't stoop to the lowly Italians.
Those darn Italians that are leaking all over the place.
Leaking all over the
That's
place
the
with their
problem.
ladder
It
frame.
wants German carburetors, Chris. That's all the problem it is. You need
find me
side
some
drafts,
Zenith side
Zeniths.
drafts.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that? Well, you can get Solexes. Like,
Sure.
Solex has a side draft, don't they?
That's the whole problem. The car doesn't like the Italians.
I'm gonna look. I think Solex has side drafts. Let me see. Yes. No. Yes. No.
Yes. No. Yes. No.
Mikuni Solex.
Mikuni is Japanese.
Yeah. I know. Nope. I don't see Solex.
Yep.
Mikuni Solex. It must have been like a collaboration.
That's cool for something.
I have no idea.
They were the Axis powers in the war, so
yeah, they were working together. Yeah, why not?
Well, that's what that car is then. You got to put some Japanese parts on it then too.
Moving right along.
I have to bolt the interior all back together, intake manifold, vacuum line, nightmare. There are so many.
I told you this was all a bad idea, dude. I told you it was a bad idea.
Sway
and
bar,
now you're in so deep.
fuel rail. I got to rebuild the injectors,
in the definition
alternator, and all the wiring that goes along with it. The oil cooler and all the lines that go along with it. I'm down to a list though. I think this is a fairly complete list now.
Okay, sure.
Like I feel like it's getting there.
Okay. I'll take
I'm basically done on the underside of the car. That feels good. So now I'm looking at the engine from the top view.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's terrible, Chris. It's terrible.
I know.
All right.
They're terrible. Well, they're terrible cars to work on.
They 100% are. I hate this thing.
You have one that doesn't have all the parts and you have to figure it out. And this sounds like the worst project you could ever take on.
Yep.
Or one of them.
Know what?
In this world that we're in with Porsches and everything.
It's a good experience, and everything I do after this now is going to be like a simple carbureted old car. That
you're not going to get EFI and try and do like standalone and Haltech and
nope. I don't have any interest in that, to be honest.
I got to. The hardest part of that is going to be trying to figure out a way to do a crank position sensor.
Why? It's not that hard. You can buy kits that are like universal and easy. That bolt onto your.
I guess it depends on what the bolt pattern of the
dampener.
crank pulley is. But you have to bolt. Yes, you can buy a kit. You can buy the wheel, but you still have to have a way to mount the wheel to the crankshaft.
Sure, you take your front pulley off and either weld it or figure out what the bolting is and center drill it and boom, rock and roll.
Nobody's welding a crank position sensor wheel to anything. It sounds like the most inaccurate.
Just sandwich it between your pulleys.
Nope, that will not work.
Why not?
I think what's going to have to happen is an aluminum spacer is going to have to get made that has holes in it that you basically put it on the front of the pulley.
Why the front?
Because there's not.
So every time you have to change a belt, you have to take your sensor off and then like recalibrate the distance to the hall sender.
It's a V-belt. You don't have to do that. You just slide the V-belt over the thing. What are you talking about?
The belt has to come outside. If this is in front of the belt, that means every time you change the belt, you'd have to either take the sensor off or cut the belt. But then you'd have to take it off anyways to get to the new one.
No, you should just the pulley isn't any different. It's just a little longer. It's not. What are you talking about?
Are you putting the sensor in front of the belt, the serpentine belt?
So you have to unplug the sensor. Who cares? You just go boink and you just unplug it.
That's dumb. Put it behind. Put it closer to the block.
No, not.
Why would you not do that? All right. Anyways.
No, that's not going to work.
Why?
I know the pulley system on this car. That will not work. I'm telling you, it will not work. It needs to go to the front.
You could just get the correct carburetor or get the carburetors that you're working with.
Or I could just run points ignition and use the standalone for fueling only.
In which case you wouldn't need a crank sensor.
That's
so dumb to run points and standalone.
I know, it's weird, right?
I don't think
it's weird.
Well, it probably has been done, but that seems so backwards.
It just seems lazy, doesn't it?
It seems very lazy.
like you have all this potential to have ignition be controlled, but you're not doing
perfect ignition and like weird advance curves if you need it. Now let's just do that. Let's just leave it to points. That's dumb. All right. That's really dumb, Chris.
Anyway.
Do you want to talk about some news?
Yeah. Why don't you tell me about Petrolbox first?
Let's do that. Petrolbox, not stupid. I do love Petrolbox. That I don't get sick of. It's not a 944 turbo. Petrolbox is your monthly service made specifically for the automotive enthusiasts in your life. As I talked about last week, you've heard these ads probably over and over again. However,
Yes.
I know for a fact that the vast majority of you have not tried out Petrolbox. And my question is, what are you waiting for? Because it's a great gift either for yourself. How many times have you been asked by like your family or friends, like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? What should I get you for Christmas? And then you're always like, I don't know. Because what do? We always order the stuff that we want right away, right? Like you're not waiting for something like you were.
So if you know somebody
kid,
like that, here you go.
This is the gift. It's perfect. It's great. There's 2 different levels to choose from. You have the Petrolbox Basic for $19.95 a month. You also have the Petrolbox Premium for $39.95 a month. You can give as many months of the subscription gift as you want to. And you can use code Overcrest at checkout to get $6 off your first month. And what do you get every time? You get cool pins. You get a sticker. You get a magnet.
Well, my kids get pins and stickers because I steal them.
And you get the detailing supplies. The tool goes along with the detailing supply. And the other standalone tool that you always get that is somehow always something you end up using within the next month. It's quite strange. It's amazing. And then there's always a t-shirt there. It's really cool stuff, guys. And it's a great gift.
All right. Morgan Stanley says, not a biased source, just it's Morgan Stanley. It's an investment bank.
I like how you specified that. Yes.
Morgan Stanley says $7 trillion needed to rewire EV battery supply chain in multipolar world.
So I read this. They're being punny there a little bit by rewire. What they're talking about is if we're going to be EV for the future, if that's what we're moving to across the board.
We're talking Western world a little bit, yeah.
Correct. What they're saying is we have to somehow figure out and restructure the way that our batteries and infrastructure is built. Because guess what? We're relying on China to build all these batteries.
Yes.
And that's not good for independence of our nation, for economies, for supporting Chinese things that aren't good.
So Morgan Stanley's global auto team led a broadly collaborative analysis that revisited the investment implications of the EV battery supply chain. By the way, this $7 trillion doesn't even account the like $14 trillion or whatever it's going to take to even put charging stations everywhere.
Right. No, so this is just changing the supply chain of the batteries.
Blah, blah. Key enhancement. I don't want to read all this. Fuck it.
No, you don't need to. That's the gist.
Estimate of a total investment of $7 trillion will be needed in the EV battery supply chain by 2040. A figure that assumes any array of targeted regulations and policies to facilitate onshore blah, 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 blah.
I'll stop you right there. Did you listen to the episode that you weren't on?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay. But here's what the interesting takeaway was from that, and this supports that, is yes, the future right now looks like it's going to be all EV. That's what everyone is totally 100% invested in. The good news is the laws will say that they're not going to take away your keys for your old
they'll
combustion
just make
engine.
I don't care what anybody says. They're just going to make it untenable. It will not be illegal. You'll be able to do it if you want to.
Yes, you will.
Enjoy the extra taxes.
It'll be a little bit more expensive for sure.
It's going to be a lot more expensive.
But there were also some comments from Joel and also some implications from lawmakers that maybe we are going to do a oops and turn around and backstep a little bit on this EV only thought, because
we're going to have to, because
it's not going to work. It can't. We can't
feasible.
Get there that quickly, right? And it doesn't make a use case.
I don't care if we move towards EV. I used to care a lot.
Obviously,
I had this whole brand that I came up with called Vroomsday.
Yeah.
We were gonna make shirts with it's the end of the world, like come and take it, with like a steering wheel and a shift. Like, I don't care anymore. Okay. I would love to have like a little electric truck that I can just plug in and drive around and not worry about it.
It makes a lot of sense for most of the time.
I don't care. The problem is it is such a different infrastructure that's needed compared to combustion engines that inevitably you cannot have both. In the end, I don't know if it's in our lifetime or our kids, probably our kids. Inevitably, you will not have.
We
both.
talked about this. You
won't in 100 years. In 100 years, these two supply chains right next to each other are not going to coexist. They're just
they
not.
will.
No, they won't. They will not.
Your gas station will have charging ports.
Yes, and
it'll have
maybe like one pump so you can, I don't know, fill up your vintage jet ski and your old shitbox Toyota Camry. Like, what are you thinking is, hold on, what are you thinking is going to happen? Okay, as
What do
of
you
like
mean?
2030, 2035,
Yeah,
all new cars must be EV. Okay, so
that's what they're saying, but it won't happen. Yes.
let's say it's 2040, Jake. Let's go with
Okay.
20. Let's
Either
go.
way, you're
Let's
saying
hold on. Let me say what I'm going
in
to
a
say.
world, it is
Hold
going to be
on.
all EV. Go. Okay, fine.
2040.
Yes.
Let's say we go, then we're saying 2070. Okay. So in 2070, I'll be 100. I'm going to be 100 years old.
You'll be dead.
With my 3D printed freaking shit that pumps out all the brake cleaner toxins out of my body. Okay.
That seems good.
Yeah. It's going to be great. I'll be at, let's say, 2060. I'll be 90. Maybe I'll still be around.
Maybe.
From 2040 to 2060, or is another 20 years. Do you think that people that are driving around in the last of the combustion engine cars are going to be just limping those things along 20, 30, 40 years later? What about guys driving cars now? They're buying a car now, 2023, 2060. All right, so we're talking a 37-year-old car in Minnesota. People are going to somehow be driving this thing?
Not the majority. You're right.
No, they will not. They will not do it. They're going to be old. The parts are going to be harder to find. People aren't going to want to work on them anymore. The regulations are going to make it untenable. The two supply chains are going to completely diverge, and one will cease to exist or become much more difficult to use. It's not going to be illegal, but market forces will make it way harder.
Here's the other thing that you actually touched on, and it's been one of my points, is there are other things that use gasoline that cannot be run on electricity.
Like what?
Efficiently. Like, for one, boats. Boats use a ton of power. They are not a good candidate for EVs.
Near the lake is going to be your 91 non-ox boat pump, and it's going to be $15 a gallon.
Well, you can fill up your 911 on that.
In their mind is driving around in their 2020 Toyota Camry, putting $15 to $20 a gallon gas to do their shit day.
You're right. It
ain't gonna happen.
It's specialty. Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Period.
But you would be able to, is my point. It exists. The infrastructure is there still.
Yeah. Well, if I strangle you, but not just enough so you can breathe a little, then it's not murder. It's just strangling.
Yeah, just
assault.
Yeah, which you feel like now.
Yeah, it's bullshit. That's the bummer, is that the choice disappears. I'm okay with the EV stuff. I'm not. It's just going to become very,
it's
very,
not the
very
ideal
difficult.
for every scenario, as we talked about.
Almost no scenario is combustion engine ideal anymore.
Ironically, as you were talking about how long people are hanging on to their cars, people are actually hanging on to their cars longer than ever in history. The average age of the cars and light trucks in the U.S. has risen again this year to a new record of 12 and a half years as the average age of a car on the road. Speculation is that consumers are not purchasing new vehicles initially due to supply constraints that cause low levels of new vehicle inventory, and then by slowing demand as interest rates and inflation reduced buying power, basically. Like, you couldn't buy these cars and you didn't want to buy these cars, so people are just hanging on to their old stuff. The combined effect caused sales of new light vehicles in the U.S. to drop 8% from 2021's 14.6 million down to less than 14 million.
I would love
it's
this.
The lowest level recorded in a decade.
I would love to see this. I would like to see a chart of how many people are keeping their shitbox alongside the average price of a car. Because the average price of a car since 2000, 2010 has gone insane.
Well, if you would have let me finish, that's exactly where I'm going with this.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were having can we have a conversation?
No, Chris.
You just want to read to me?
Just going to read to you. No,
just
but you're right. And so that is where I was going with this. So
because who can afford like a $40,000 car? Regular people can't. It's ridiculous. I'm an enthusiast, so I'll make the sacrifice and pay. Most people are like, I'm not doing that. And they'll buy like a 99 Civic or a 2010 Civic because they don't care. Yeah, no, so reports say that cars aren't going to be as on the road as long. They say, oh, this is the peak. 12 and a half years. That's the oldest. They're going to return back to normal. But
The
don't know,
volume of
man.
vehicles on the road that are 16 to 14 years old will grow by another 10 million by 2028. And why is this? You're exactly right. In addition
Here's
to
the two-
economic
here's two-
reasons.
Here's two things.
Okay.
One,
Yes.
half of people don't want an EV. Okay.
Yes.
So you have that factor. They don't
Yes.
want it. The
Correct.
other half don't want to spend the money.
Yes. Cars
And
are just
that is
damn
that's
expensive.
nonpartisan. People that don't want an EV are largely conservative Republicans.
Yes.
They don't want it. The
Yep.
other one, people that don't want to spend the money, that's bipartisan. So you have 50% don't want a new car as
Right.
everything's shifting to, or don't want an EV as we're shifting that way. And the other ones don't want to afford it.
Even beyond EVs, this was kind of my last take on this, is I say that people just aren't super excited about new cars, period. Like, gas or otherwise, I don't think outside of like little niche things, like it's not general talk at work, like, oh, guess what? I just got the new Corvette or something.
You know
People
why?
just don't care.
Here's why. There's nothing to brag about. There's no more innovation.
Yeah.
As you're coming up through the 70s, 80s, 90s, early
You're right.
2000s,
People were
tons
excited.
of innovation. Tons.
And it was
Tons
stuff
of
that
innovation.
normal people understood, right?
Now there's no, I mean,
You had to have to be such a
was
nerd.
It last week we discussed you can get a Kia that has CarPlay
Right.
for like, what was it? 14 grand or something.
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
dirt cheap. It was great.
Like,
But it's like
there's
you're not going
no-
to talk about that. You're right. It's not exciting. So people aren't
Not
excited
exciting,
about that.
and there's no reason.
But they're too expensive. So to your point, the average new car sold in December of last year cost, now this is the average, Chris,
dude,
$49,500, which
Okay,
is a
does
record
that-
high.
I need to know this stat. Maybe you know this from looking it up.
Yes.
Where does that stop? What luxury level does that stop at? Is that like including a GT2 RS at $400,000?
This is just average. Every single car sold in the US, they averaged it. So
Okay,
sure,
well,
it
some
includes
cars are
some
like
of those.
$100,000.
Yes. And a lot of people buy them, Chris. Some cars
Right.
are also $14,000. A lot of people buy those. The absolute average is $50,000 for a new car.
Woo.
So just for comparison, I looked up what the average cost was back. I just picked around number 2010.
Yep.
You have any guess what the average cost was? Keep in mind it's 50 grand. last year.
2010. So I'm thinking of like the cars, like a Mark 6, Volkswagen. They had a couple cars that they were selling at the time for like, you could get a Jetta for 15 grand back then.
16, I think it was. Yeah, they were proud of that.
Yeah, that was like crank windows or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And it had an 8-valve engine in it.
That's right at the
I'm
ABA.
going to go $28,000.
24.
Wow.
Yeah.
24
Think
grand.
of that
What is
increase.
What's that adjusted for?
It's
in inflation?
more than double the
Hold on,
price.
we got to do it. I'm going to go pull up an
Sure.
inflation calculator.
Yeah.
I want to see, because right now,
what that is today.
who the fuck knows? You know, it's like,
Right. You can't do the quick math in your head.
well, yeah, the inflation in the last couple of years has been bonkers.
You can't keep up.
I can't. All right, calculate.
24,000.
35,000.
Okay. That still
We've-
is ridiculous to go
we've
from
gone
50.
through- Dude, we've gone through 30% inflation in 13 years. Holy shit.
Or
That's
just
all I-
cars are more expensive.
Yeah, cars, and there's the whole metric of everything is
Right, I know, but
is insane.
in comparison, even I feel like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Hold on.
So-
Hold on. I'm going to do another metric here. Cost of a
Okay.
gallon of milk in 2010. Milk inflation is like kind of like this thing, right? Let's see
Okay.
here. In 2010, it was $3.26. Now it's $4.09.
There's also some interesting economic theories behind milk, because Gen Z, I was listening to this weird presentation. I won't tell you why or need to go into it, but Gen Z are basically shunning milk, Chris.
Why?
Because why should we be eating these bovine products when we could have oat milk, or we could have some other lactose-free milk, Chris?
Yeah, you can have some soy stuff that rots your testicles. That's fine.
But it's
More
really
chicks for the rest of us. I guess.
the rate of dairy consumption is much lower now. It's very interesting. So the supply and demand curve goes up.
Well, I
and
also
cost
think
goes
that
up.
I understand there's a lot of people are scared of hormones too, and there's a lot
That
of
is a
hormones
big
in milk.
deal.
If you don't
It is.
if you don't
I
get
looked
hormone
into
free
it.
milk, and
Yes.
we try to get our kids milk without human, or not human growth hormone, but what is it?
That'd be
Bovine.
weird.
bovine
Bovine
growth
hormones. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, speaking of cars that are new and expensive, Vietnam's first and only domestic automaker, VinFast, announced several years ago that it was producing the first Vietnamese cars to be sold right here on U.S. soil. And with a name that sounds like what Vin Diesel might call himself, the company's first vehicle is for sale here, and it's the VF8.
Oh, it's for sale here.
You can buy
So
it. You could have bought it like months ago. Like it's
Okay.
here, VinFast, the VF8. And the cars are already being delivered to customers, and they are unanimously terrible. The all-electric SUV, it's all electric, features a dual more setup that is
That's what, dude, I'm telling you, you're going to see so much of this EV stuff coming over the ocean.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to design.
Yeah.
In comparison to
like
the
building your own
needed
motor,
to do like a combustion engine without just buying it from someone else.
Right.
Insanely difficult. Transmission, engine, all that stuff.
Which,
insanely complex. EV motor? I don't know. RC car. Make one. I can make one.
Which, you saying sourcing the motor, keep in mind, they basically are sourcing the motor. These drivetrains, it's probably like a Bosch power unit, right?
Yeah,
so, yes, it's very easy. So, it's a very like generically styled SUV with one review stating it looked like something a ChatGPT would create if you asked it to design an SUV. And after hearing that and reading that, I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, you are 100% right. Like the proportions are kind of off somehow, but
at least
it doesn't
the wheels
look
are round.
like
anything you tell
you're right.
Anything you tell AI to make never has round wheels.
Yeah. So here's the problem, though.
Fingers.
Test drives give reports of nausea-inducing body roll, scary steering, and panel gaps that would make 90s GM trucks feel ashamed. The worst part? The pricing. This thing, every review I read is like abhorrent. It's like terrible for somehow. They're like, this can't be a production vehicle. It seems like it should be one of the first test models that they give the press. But it's finished. They're delivering it to customers, and it's that bad. And prices start at well over $50,000.
$50,000 for this toilet.
It's not a cheap
where are they? Why is it this expensive? Like, what are we looking at here? What is the shifting? How you shift into reverse, neutral, or drive? Did you see this?
It's the giant buttons that don't save any space.
It's PRND. It each has its own button. Park,
right?
Reverse, neutral, drive.
Why couldn't you just have a lever? Because usually the excuse is, oh, well, we need to save room, right, on the controls.
Well, this is a lot less complicated. It's just a button. If any moving part that you have that's like a lever or needs bearings and engineering and
well, it's terrible. So get ready to see your VinFasts.
You know what else is not terrible?
What?
The Overcrest Drivers Club.
That's right.
I have to say thank you to you know what? I'm pulling it up. Go ahead.
All our new members.
I'm going to pull it up.
Overcrest Drivers Club for as little as $5 a month. You too can become a member of the Overcrest Drivers Club. What do you get? Well, you get exclusive content, access to all of our back catalog of Drivers Club only episodes that we do. You also get access on our Discord to exclusive channels. You also get some exclusive access to merch we've done in the past. You get early access to new merch. We want to do more.
All right. Okay. We want to do something special for you guys. We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before we did the episode, like, should we do a print like with a poster, or should we?
Because we've done that in the past.
Send everybody a super unique shirt.
Yep.
What should we do? Like, what can we do? We're figuring something out. So,
whatever
we do, it's going to go to everyone. I don't care what tier you are. We're going to do something for everybody.
Yes.
And hey, if you're not a member and we send that stuff out and you sign up, too bad for you. I'm not like
we're not back.
I'm not back
ordering. Yeah.
Okay. So this month, Albert Ayers, Andrew Ritchie, Jeff Murphy, Mark Duguay, Matt Silverlock, Kaylin Richardson, Brian Reeves, Ben Powell, and Chad Truss all new this month.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
You guys.
Huge support.
Thank you. And like I said, you know what? Someone sent me a DM and said, I joined because you called me a freeloader, and it made me kind of feel like one. And guess what? You are a freeloader if you haven't signed up for the Drivers Club.
Just the asshole. True to brand right there.
That's me. We talk about that on Friday's episode a little bit. It's gonna be good.
We do actually. Okay, let's see. Back to news. So last week, Tesla made headlines as China forced them to recall over 1 million cars over what was described as a braking issue. Which, by the way, Chris, do you know the origin of the term braking?
Didn't we talk about this as Shooting
as our
breaks?
Overcrest exclusive that we just recorded.
Yeah, the Drivers Club episode. Yeah.
Yes.
You could be the guy at the party. That's what
Yeah.
we are. We're
This is-
ammunition for you to be the guy that's interesting at the party.
Ammunition, huh?
Yeah. So you can
Might
have
a
like
negative
cool shit to talk
connotation. Yeah,
about.
but
well, only if you're a dark, fucked up individual. Otherwise, it's just.
So that's why you thought of it. Okay. Regardless, this recall actually wasn't a recall at all. What happened was Tesla released a new over-the-air feature that allowed for variable regenerative braking. So have you ever driven a Tesla? So you let off the throttle. You can't call it the gas. Yeah, regen braking.
Has variable.
And so
it has variable.
Yeah. Does it?
You can select it. Yeah, you can variable like how
this was,
aggressive
I
you
think,
want this to be.
additional function or something. So for whatever reason, people weren't able to figure out how to adjust it or how to access this. And the cars were suddenly driving completely differently, right? Like the dynamics of letting off the throttle pedal behaved totally different, which it's really just weird that we now live in an age where you can go out in your garage one morning, get in, and an update completely changed the way the car drives. That is very strange. But regardless, this recall, it was these issues which basically consisted of these over-the-air updates, and they then just sent a new update, and it was fine. But it was interesting because I saw this article everywhere about like, oh, there's millions of cars recalled in China, and then someone had to come out with a statement and go, actually, they just did another over-the-air update.
Yeah, everybody, it's interesting. I still think it's hilarious that everybody was on Elon Musk's jock until he bought Twitter. And now everybody's like, I hate Tesla. Never mind.
Yeah.
Totally fine when he's calling people pedophiles and being himself because he was all Tesla EV green boy. Now, even though he said he voted for Biden, they don't like the guy. He bought Twitter. They're ruining their place. So now Tesla is always under attack.
I won't go into that. But, Kris, you mentioned last week how you saw the Pegasus at Louvre.
Yeah, I did.
And you weren't... Yeah. It was you were able to chat with the builders a little bit too. Well, Leah Block, daughter of the late Ken Block, has announced that she will be driving the car at the 2023 Pikes Peak International Hill Climb this June. The untimed run will be a tribute, of course, to her father. Last year, Ken drove the Pegasus in the unrestricted Pikes Peak Open class, but due to an engine issue, prevented him from actually qualifying. So it'll be really cool to see Leah there, kind of celebrating that and putting the car up the mountain.
It's a tribute run, to be clear.
Yes, that's
so
what
I timed.
Yeah. No,
which is good because, as far as I can tell, this thing would be terrifying to drive up there. I haven't driven up Pikes Peak, but we talked to Jeff, who's part of Overcrest.
Yes.
He's like, dude, you're like going 5 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, and just not looking over the edge.
Yeah,
I can't imagine going flat out up Pikes Peak.
I can't either. Absolutely nuts.
I get kind of nervous if like there's a lot of places like on Beartooth Pass where you're going. And this is what was scary about
all you see is the horizon.
There's nothing. It's just Armco, sky. That's it.
Yep. That's the end of the world.
You ever step on a soda can? That's you. That's you. If you drive off of this thing.
Wait, what? Oh, you're crumpled. You're crumpled.
You're smashed. Yes. Yeah. This is
absolutely. Oh, you were just referring to that because you had one right there.
I do.
You were ready for that effect.
I was.
So I will say, with all the doom and gloom regarding EV cars that we're talking about here, and Kris, you lamenting that you won't be able to drive your old car in the future, we have been noticing kind of a cool trend with some manufacturers. It started with Porsche Classic, of course, offering direct factory parts support for its old models. Then, I don't know if you remember, Mazda followed suit.
Yeah.
They are newly manufacturing replacement parts for some of its popular order models. And the last to embrace this and support the classic cars came from Aston Martin, who announced that its classic car department will now be offering full engine blocks, cylinder heads, transmissions, all of it, for a variety of their old models, including the DB4, DB5, 6, and select V8 models. I did not look up pricing.
Okay. All right. But be astronomical.
It does, but it's really cool. Like if you have a concourse level DB5, you can buy a brand new factory engine for it now, which is very cool. They developed all the tooling to manufacture the parts from the original specs.
And how many of these are they really going to sell?
Not many.
But
they did it's not like they had these castings around. Like they had to remanufacture all of the tooling to do so.
They made some pretty sick V8s.
They did. In some cases, they actually had to go to the original suppliers to recreate parts. So the transmissions are, of course, a key example, and they're supplied by Germany's ZF. We've all heard of ZF transmissions. Quote,
What does
the
ZF stand
heritage...
for? Do you know?
Zuffenhausen fucking Tügendach. No, I
This
do
is
not
my
know.
skeptical face. I don't think that's right.
No, it is not. Quote, the heritage department at gearbox supplier ZF, for instance, was invaluable in helping to recreate original specification gearboxes, said Paul Spars, Aston Martin Works president, in a statement. They basically had to go through their old archives to pull out the specs of these transmissions and help them. So it's just cool seeing
rad. I like the
major
support.
manufacturers go back.
You want to know what it
do
stands
that.
for?
Yes.
It's very close because you were just doing gibberish, but this
Yes.
sounds like German gibberish anyway.
Yes. Okay.
Zahnradfabrik Friedrichshafen,
Yes.
which means cogwheel factory.
Which is great. I mean, it's perfect. It's
Yeah.
very, very literal, right?
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah, well,
probably
that's-
did start out before transmission. It's probably a very old company that just made cogwheels, I imagine.
A company was founded in 1915 by Friedrichshafen in Germany, Friedrichshafen, Germany, by Luftschiffbau Zeppelin GmbH to produce gears for Zeppelins and other airships.
Oh, that's cool.
Zeppelin was unable to otherwise obtain gears for the airships. By 1919, ZF had moved into the automobile market, a move consolidated by the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. Some of the most important milestones that followed were a patent application for a 6-speed transmission, which
That's
is
cool.
pretty freaking sweet. Oh man, this dude is cherry looking. Wow, what a guy.
The founder?
I have to share this. This just makes more work in editing, but I have to share this photo of this guy. This dude is
I'm going to have to add this to my list of cool history stories. Even if it's just a short, I think it'll be
Look at this guy. Look at this man.
Oh, that is a mustache.
This dude.
That is a mustache. Wow.
Oy.
Yeah.
I should shave my head. What do you think?
You're getting there.
I can.
Only if you just grow out the mustache like that and dye it white.
Well, he's got a picture of him, like his family or something. Is that?
Yeah, that's odd
that
for a
looks
portrait.
That looks like.
What do you?
God, who wrote the Communist Manifesto? I'm drawing a blank right now. That's him right there, though. I'm almost sure of it. Okay.
Okay.
Stop sharing. Did we stop sharing? We did. Okay. Yeah. What a guy. Made cogs for Zeppelins. Cog factory. Right.
Which I do have on my list that I need to get to here soon is the history of airships. Like that entire era, just so cool and wild. I want to go on an airship.
Did you know we invented? Did you see the military program where they were going to take just giant pieces of tungsten steel into space, and instead of nuking people, they were just going to drop giant rods of tungsten from space out, and the gravity would pull them into a city and do massive amounts of damage, almost like a huge kiloton bomb, but wouldn't have any nuclear fallout. And they would use tungsten rods to do it.
Why? Why tungsten?
Because it's heavy, and it can withstand the re-entering the atmosphere. So
you're making this.
Giant...
This is an Onion story.
No. Do I need
You realize how expensive it would be to take something heavy enough to cause damage like that into the atmosphere? You can't do that. You cannot do that.
United States Air Force Rods from God kinetic weapon program. The Rods from God idea was a bundle of telephone pole size, 20 feet long, 1 foot in diameter, tungsten rods dropped from orbit, reaching a speed of 10 times the speed of sound. The rod itself would penetrate hundreds of feet into the earth, destroying any potential hardened bunkers or secret underground sites.
Okay, so it's not like a bomb going off, but it's a way of pinpointing.
Such a weapon could destroy a target with 15 minutes of notice. Let's see, what is the cost of $230 million a rod was unimaginable during the Cold War.
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
Because you can't get something heavy up that high.
Read the original article. I want to see if there's like anything that says these Air Force
this was
rods from gods could hit with the force of a nuclear weapon. It says right here. Blah blah blah.
How? That doesn't make sense.
Lazy dog projectiles could reach speeds of up to 500 miles per hour as they fell to the ground and could penetrate 9 inches of concrete after being dropped from as little as 3,000 feet.
Wow.
Like, holy shit. I wonder if I just want to find out how many kilotons of energy, how much energy they had. Blah, blah, blah. Well, dude, so they cost $230 million versus the Minuteman ICBM was only $7 million back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem
But,
is that a nuclear weapon wouldn't
nuclear
penetrate, so
fallout.
you could be in a bunker.
Oh. Whereas these, you can
Yeah.
go through any
The
bunker
idea
you
is
want.
like shooting bullets at a target, except instead of losing velocity as it travels, the projectile is gaining velocity and the energy that will be expended on impact. I mean,
That is pretty crazy.
a telephone pole-sized chunk of tungsten from space.
What was it? Rods from God?
Rods from God. You should see if you can figure out. The militarizing our world's ultimate high ground would violate the clear intent of the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which was designed to keep pace.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a good one for you.
But
Dude. I want
that's
to know more about
okay.
this.
Send that to me.
Rods
Text
from
that to
They
me so I
reached
don't forget
Mach
it.
10 by the time they hit Earth. So what I saw was like a satellite that had a cone, and the cone would open up, and then they would just like slide out, and then they could use
just like toothpicks, just funk, funk. Wow.
Yeah.
All right,
Rods
text that to me so I
rods
can do
from
that
God.
later.
Dude, just remember, how could you forget rods from God?
Yeah, you're
Text
right.
it to yourself. You're fine.
Okay, fine. All right, you
What
want
else
to
you got
talk
for
about
me?
the next one, or
Yeah,
no?
the Nürburgring has increased its minimum speed limit. I didn't know they had a minimum speed limit.
So
Germany's
I didn't either.
Nürburgring is one of the most popular racetracks in the world. As we know, it is actually considered a public toll road. So I've been on the Nürburgring. I took a Mercedes A-Class diesel on the Nürburgring.
Okay.
And that is one of the slowest vehicles probably to traverse the Nürburgring. It was absolutely chugging along, super slow.
And since you have done it, were people passing you left and right in crazy cars, and the closing speed was terrifying. Right.
Terrifying.
So that's why they're doing this.
The current cost of a lap is around $40. However, there are restrictions. There's a minimum speed limit of 80 miles per hour. According to Road and Track, the minimum speed was only recently increased from a previous speed of only 37 miles per hour, which is ridiculous when you think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I was saying I just saw an in-car video this week of like a E90 M3 doing a lap of the ring, and he's passing a slower car, but then as he overtakes him, there's even a slower car coming over, or like they're approaching over this crest, so it almost causes like this huge pileup, and it's just the closing speed. The potential, if you're going that fast,
there's some
it makes sense.
When I was there was some sort of wristband that you could have.
Okay.
I don't know if it's kind of like a season pass or something. I don't really know how it worked, but these dudes had a wristband, and they would just drive it over and over and over again. It wasn't $39 each time.
Got it.
But these dudes, I went around in some Opel sedan and a Berg Cup Polo G40. So those are the two.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I drove the shitbox A-Class. So lame. I'd love to do it again. One thing that everybody's played the Nürburgring on Gran Turismo or Forza or something like that.
Yeah.
And one thing that doesn't translate at all is the elevation changes.
I've heard that.
Monumental. You're going up and down and left and right and up and left and down and right. And there's so many blind like things where if you're sitting there, you're going to get absolutely effed.
Yeah.
If someone's not paying attention.
Yeah. Which is why you need a minimum speed limit.
You need a minimum speed limit. Well, that's fine. You could probably drive most of the track at 80 miles an hour without issue in a standard pedestrian car.
All right. So, Chris, I tried to watch one of the more recent Fast and the Furious movies. It was like either number 8 or 9. Have you even tried or attempted to watch these?
I don't remember.
I couldn't. I turned it off. Like, they're just so ridiculous and silly now.
There needs to, like, DC Comics, whoever directs those and made the Batman movie cool and did Joker and made it like not.
They need to
like
make a gritty origin story. Well, yeah. So I haven't been paying attention to the franchise because of this, but apparently this year's new movie, Fast X, is supposed to be the start of the finale.
What do you mean the start of the finale?
Series. Well, let me tell you. Originally, the story was planned to have basically a 2-part finale. So they're going to make 2 movies as the end of the franchise.
Have you ever seen Last Action Hero?
No, I didn't.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger and the kid.
I know what you're talking about.
One of the scenes, and this is basically where a kid gets teleported into the movie screen. So he's in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Then, well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It's a good movie. You should watch it.
Spoiler from 1980, whatever.
No, it's in the early 90s, I think.
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's most underrated movie said by Arnold Schwarzenegger. He said this is his most underrated movie. Yes. And it's like making a comeback now or something. I watched it the other day because I get his newsletter. And I was like reading, like, yeah. Anyway, so in this movie, the main character, who's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, is like, are they going to cancel me? Like, is my movie going to get canceled? Because
Yeah.
he's a real person, because the kid goes into the movie and then he becomes realized, right? Then all of a sudden he is like a real person. And are they going to cancel me? He's like, nah, your box office is still pretty good. Once it starts to slip, then they'll kill you off. And I can tell you right now, if these movies, the last two of the series, are still making money, they ain't going to stop. They're not going to stop. They'll keep making them till things start to dip off.
Here, let me finish what I'm about to read, because you're not wrong. So they're going to be basically a 2-part finale. Then just last week, during the red carpet interview, Vin Diesel teased that the studio requested the saga go out with a trilogy instead of a 2-part finale, as originally planned. I'm sure they did. Cha-ching. Quote, going into making this movie, the studio asked if this could be a 2-parter, Vin Diesel said. And then after the studio saw this one, they said, could you make Fast X the finale, a trilogy? I'm sure they asked Vin Diesel that. No, they didn't. With Diesel hinting that a 12th movie is planned, the saga may stretch into the second half of the decade. Diesel did say, however, that while the main storyline will come to an end, there's still room for spin-offs like 2019's Hobbs and Shaw.
Hook up with me. We can write a script together for the real movie.
Basically, what they're saying is they're like, the actors are getting too old and they're running out of storyline for the main story, but they're going to use the universe to make all these spin-offs still.
Why don't we?
And that's
why does
the way
it maybe Jesse didn't die in the first movie?
That'd be kind of cool.
You know, where like he's like on a ventilator and like maybe it's a little bit about his life and like how he comes back and he's like and maybe it rewinds, right? Everybody's a little younger. They can do it now with AI, right? And it goes back into that time
or
and
just
tries
recast
to make a comeback. I don't know, man. Like, can we just do like, I'm a
better
grown-ass
story.
man.
Right.
When a car
here's
flips over,
the thing.
there's no drive shaft, I fucking noticed, dude.
The problem is most of the audience are old men now, right? Because we grew up with these.
Yeah, it's old men taking their kids and going, hey, look at this great. And the kids are like, what is this crap? This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
So dumb.
There's no nostalgia left. It's all been squeezed out. You know, you couldn't put this stone in a 500,000 PSI press and have anything come out of it. It's done.
Not a diamond.
Over.
Not a diamond.
Nothing.
Chris, do you want a new GT3 motor, but in a small convertible? Because
you had me till convertible, but
really,
I mean,
you could hear it. The new Porsche just released the 718 Spider RS.
I do like a Spider.
Yes.
I don't like a Boxster, really. I think they kind of look doofusy.
That's what this is
I know,
Boxster.
but like, they have like the little thing on the back and like the humps and stuff. And I don't think a Boxster has those. Like visually, a Spider looks different. It looks more aggressive.
It's defined differently, but I'm pretty sure all the.
It's almost like a mini Carrera GT.
Those. Correct.
Like,
yes.
It's like a
100%.
mini Carrera GT is what I think of when I think of a Spider. They're cool.
Yeah. So Porsche released Tuesday the 718 Spider RS, which is a limited edition model that combines the 718 Boxster Spider body with the entire powertrain of a 2022 911 GT3. So it basically is the GT4 RS without the roof, which, interestingly enough, is actually the GT4 RS. The one with the roof is 11 pounds heavier. It always used to be that the convertible was the heavier car, right? Because they needed chassis reinforcements and like all the mechanicals for the top. This time it's actually lighter. Yes.
Even if you had the money, there's no way we could get one of these. They're all sold.
Oh,
every allocation is already done.
Who cares?
And given to some douchebag that
I would
drive
never.
it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's cool to recognize at least.
I don't know, dude.
You
just
don't
make
care?
the car. Just make the car. Make the car for anybody that wants to buy the car. Just sell the car.
That's how they used to. That was how Porsche used to do.
Can I just buy the car, please? Can I just buy the car? You know what? Yeah. You know what sucks is if I was like 16 and we have a friend that really wants a GT4 and he can't buy one unless it's used and he has the money. He's got literally could just take a briefcase.
You went to the dealer
with the cash and they're like, sorry, we don't have an allocation for you because you haven't been stroking our cock long enough. Sorry. Here, why don't we put it right in your mouth and just hang out this way for a little while
No.
and then you can have one later. It's so
Cutting you
stupid that
off.
you got to buy all these different things, own
Yeah.
this, own that, do this, do that, have a Macan,
So
buy one of these new, get one of these new, have a 911. If you buy a 911 Carrera, next time you can have a turbo. And if you buy a turbo, then you can have a GT3. And if you have the GT3, then you can have the GT3 RS.
it's very
it's the
dumb.
stupidest ladder ever. How does that look to a kid that's 16 years old that sees himself owning something like this? The kid that's dreaming. The kid
Well,
that's dreaming. And this is something that's happened over the last 10 years, right? It didn't
right.
always used
And
to be
so
this
let me
way.
I know. Let me tell you why.
How
Because
does
first
the
of all,
dream happen? How do you
because
imagine
the
yourself being like,
16-year-old kid
"Oh,
doesn't know that this exists. They don't know that there's this allocation system. And this whole model came from, by the way, Ferrari. Ferrari was famous for saying,
Yeah.
we do market studies and market research. If we know that there are 500 people that would buy this car at this price point, we're going to build 499. That was their
no, there's
quote.
way more people
They
that would
said
buy
that.
this stuff. There's way
No,
more
I
people.
know, but you don't get my point, Chris, is that they basically manufacture exclusivity, Ferrari did, into their marketing, right? So they would say, if there's 500 people that want this car, we will build 499 so that there's always one person that will pay more and it's exclusive, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Porsche
This is a
never
terrible
used to do
business
that.
model.
They would build no, it's not, because now you have exclusivity and you have many people paying way more money than you could have otherwise. But I agree.
Not at
Porsche,
this
up
level,
until
dude.
recently,
This isn't a Ferrari. It's
right.
a fucking Volkswagen.
Why are you yelling at me? I'm agreeing with you.
I'm
Up
just
until
angry.
recently,
I'm just angry about it. I don't
they
like
never
it.
used to do this.
You know
They
who's
never
got
used
great
to.
stickers for this?
Who?
Is Kilo.
Yeah, I saw that.
They have the sticker that says Ferrari Ferrari spelled out or whatever.
Or
And you
Porsche
slap.
is spelled Ferrari or something. Yeah,
No, it doesn't even say it. It just says Ferrari spelled out, and it goes on your Porsche. Because that's what are we doing?
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
it's just it's stupid.
Wow.
I don't like it at
Chris
all.
really fired up. Well, if you could have afforded one or been able to get one, it was 162 grand.
Blah, blah. I don't care anymore. Hey, do
Yeah.
you guys want to do rad shit with us? And like we can be excited about some stuff together. That's not that.
Yes.
No allocation. Let's just hang out and do cool stuff. If you want to partner with us, if you got some cool stuff going on, look us up. Send us a message. You know how. We'd love to work with you. We're open to ideas. Just let us know.
We really are. We're always looking for cool partnerships.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do last story here, Chris. Did you see the trailer for the new Gran Turismo movie?
No, I did.
Do you know about this?
I don't.
Okay, so let me tell you about this. Well, we'll play the trailer here in a minute, but let me tell you the movie. It's really kind of cool. So it's based on the true story of Jan Mardenborough, a British gamer turned racer who won his initial race seat through the GT Academy, which was a competition organized by Nissan and Sony. So the real life GT Academy ran from 2008 to 16, and what it did is it took players of Gran Turismo, Sony's racing game, and it pitted them against each other, with the prize being the chance to become the Nissan factory driver.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah, and so Mardenborough won the competition in 2011, at just 19 years old. He was one of the youngest, and he then went on to compete in the British GT Championship the following year, and also raced at the 24 Hours Le Mans twice, finishing third in the LMP2 class in 2013. It was like a really cool success story for this kid, and the trailer that they're making actually looks really good.
All right, you want to play it?
Yeah, we can play it a little bit. I'll try to describe what's going on for those not watching.
No, it's whatever. They can just listen. It's fine. You don't have to like do some sort of handicapped reading of the.
Well, first of all, it has Stranger Things guy. I can like halfway hear it. Can you hear audio? Because I don't think anyone can hear audio.
I can't do anything. It's what it is.
All right. Well, maybe we don't need to do that, but it's got a lot of big actors in it. Some apparently really cool shots of real driving and a cool real story. I love.
Do you have audio? Can you hear it?
Nothing.
No audio at all. None.
Nothing. None.
All right. Well, I'm not going to play this then. I don't.
That's why I was saying, yeah.
Frustrating.
That is frustrating, but that's a cool movie. A heck of a lot better than any of the Fast and the Furious stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit more. It's gone so far. I mean, the first movie had some realism issues too, but I don't know.
Yeah, none of them were that great, but at least they weren't
What do we got going on Friday, Jake?
We have the recap, the part
part
two
two.
of
Part two,
your
Lifty Cool
journey
trip.
off to Lifty-Cool and on the way back with
It's
your daughter.
a pretty.
We get kind of deep with it. Yeah,
I
we
think
get
it is probably one of our
philosophical,
deepest episodes that we've had.
which I know people have liked that in the past, so hopefully you do too. Get to know us a little better.
All right.
I think that's all that we know. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I don't remember. Whatever, Chris.
That you love me.
Sure.
All right, guys. See you later.
On that note, take care.